While there are so many different characters in Legends Arceus, we've now been tasked with picking 8 gym leaders after beating Hisui's main story. So let's find some powerful trainers or characters significant to the story to act as Hisui's first 8 gym leaders. In these olden days, I think it's proper to start with Zisu here. Of course, she seems to be the only one somewhat doped on Pokemon battling in all of Hisui. And she's even got this dojo all set up in Jubilife. I mean, it's basically a gym already. This little battle area here shows it could be an early version of a gym anyways.
It's literally called the training grounds.
The weird thing to me here is that why are we giving Jubilife Village a gym if Jubilife City doesn't have one in the modern day? It doesn't even have a fighting dojo. It really makes me wonder what they had to do to have Jubilife lose a gym. As far as typing goes, I suppose we could give Zisu the fire typing to reflect their descendant, Flint from Sinnoh. Who, yeah, I mean, he uses fire types, but look at this team. It's not all fire types. Zisu's team in Arceus reflects Flint's team from Diamond and Pearl, but I'm actually going to go a different direction here. I think Zisu could use the fighting typing instead because of the whole dojo vibe, you know? I'm picturing the Saffron dojo and its link to the fighting type. And of course, the first gym has to be easy. So let's give Zisu a Riolu, as you sometimes see Lucario's doing sparring matches there. And since Infernape is the ace and we've got to have the whole fire typing connection, let's give it a Monferno. Kind of that first gym having the one evolved Pokemon thing to make it seem a little harder at the time. And it's a nice callback to Flint. For a rematch team at the end of the game, which we'll give to each gym leader as a 6-mon full team at full strength, let's give Zisu, Lucario, and Infernape, which of course are the evolved forms of their 2 Pokemon we decided to give them. But let's add Heracross, Hisuian Lilligant, Gallade, and while I'm tempted to say Machamp for the last fighting type, because you know, cookie cutter fighting type, let's go Heatran here. I'm gonna give Flint the benefit of the doubt and say that using Pokemon that don't fit your type theming runs in the family. So step aside, Machamp. We're going to use this random legendary Fire Steel type on this fighting type team. Elite Four is in the bloodline. For Gym 2, I'm going to go with maybe a more unpopular pick. Well, let's be real. This guy has to be one of the most loved characters in all of Legends. So for Gym 2, I went with Beauregard. Yes, the Wurmple guy that thinks he's going to get a Beautifly, but it turns into a Dustox instead. Of course, I'm going to give him the Bug type. And as much as I wanted to make this guy Gym 8, I just couldn't. I mean, imagine a Bug gym being gym number 8. Up until Paldea, there are 4 Bug type gyms. The furthest one into any Pokemon League is Berg at Gym 3, so I just couldn't do it. I mean, Aaron exists in Gen 4, so it's not that Bug is like the worst type or anything. Yes, it is. So there are strong Bug type trainers out there, but this guy would remind me more of Bugsy from Johto, or the Photo Girl from Kalos. Having some weak Bug types, just happy to be here. I would imagine his gym would be somewhere safe, maybe right outside a camp location in the Obsidian Fieldlands. Maybe even somewhere near Cleavor in the Grandtree Arena. I feel like you've got Combees over there, Scyther, Motham, like Beautifly, a bunch of random Bug types over there. Now for his team, we'll give him his signature Dustox. Of course, the Wurmple that evolved into what he didn't want. But then let's give him a Burmy and make him excited for it to evolve into the Steel one, even though he's going to get Plant one. And to top it off, we'll give him a Combee, but we'll make it the male version. Beauregard just doesn't really have the whole evolution thing down yet, so maybe this is a good way to teach new players as they reach their second gym. For a rematch team, I really want to keep the Combee, but I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and say he's figured the whole evolution thing out by now. So let's give him the Vespiquen and the Steel Cloak Wormadam that he's always wanted. I'm not going to give him the Beautifly he wanted though. Let's say he's learned to love his Dustox. But then he needs 3 stronger Pokemon to round out his team. So let's give him Drapion, Yanmega, and of course Cleavor, which we can assume he befriended the Noble Cleavor in the Grandtree Arena, which would be right next to his gym in this case. Moving on to third gym leaders. And you know, third gym leaders, they're kind of strange, right? I mean, everybody loves Brock and Misty, but then Lieutenant Surge, there's kind of a steep drop off, right? And Sinnoh is so bad, they actually took Maylene, who's the third gym leader in Diamond and Pearl, and replaced her for Platinum. So naturally, our third gym leader has to be somebody that we hate. And to me, there is no better pick than Melee. Melee? For typing, we're going to give him Poison, and I probably would have done that even if I hadn't seen his team first, because this guy's an absolute... His in-game battle in Arceus isn't actually that bad for a third gym leader. You kind of don't have to change much, except for that level discrepancy. I mean, what the heck? 47 for the Drapion, 48 for the Golbat, and 74 for his Skuntank. I think the Scarlet Bog in the Crimson Mirelands feels right for a location. I'm picturing like Bowser Robot from Super Mario Sunshine just melee emerging from the pool of poison. Or if they had to build a building for him, they could just like take Misty's gym and fill it with a pool of acid or something. But back to the team. While we're going to leave him with Skuntank, Drapion, and Golbat for his first battle, the rematch team is a little tougher as there aren't really that many poison types to work with. Let's evolve his Golbat, call it his new ace. I know he's not like Cyrus's ancestor, but it's just a Crobat. Probably Melly's only friend. We have to throw Overquill in there because, you know, Hisuian Pokemon, poison type, perfect match. Oh my gosh, there's a second Hisuian poison type, and I forgot about it. It's Sneasler. And this guy's whole deal is in the Coronet Highlands, so I feel like Sneasler's perfect fit too. Also, just the vibe. I feel like Sneasler just seems like he never wants to be there. And while we could give Melly a Hisuian Electrode because, you know, he's the warden for the Coronet Highlands, the Moonview Arena, like, he uses Hisuian Electrode in a way anyways. We've got to stick with poison things, so I'm just going to give him a Roserade. Roserade kind of seems like she doesn't want to be there either. So I feel like this whole run of 6 poison types is perfect to match Melly's little attitude thing he's got going on. Side note, does anybody actually know who Melly's ancestor is? I feel like he's just a combination of like 20 different people, which isn't that what all of us are? Just seems like the most random character in the game. I wanted to follow up our odd pick, putting the bug type in our league, with another quite odd choice. Other than Gen 3, the normal type has not really gotten that much representation throughout gyms. And speaking of being underrepresented, Marley was a character in Sinnoh that I think a lot of players never actually met. She's obsessed with Shaman, but like if you never went and got the Shaman or never had access to the event, there was really no reason to go up there in Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum. So maybe that's why they gave her ancestor, May, such a prevalent role in Legends Arceus. And the obvious typing for this would be the normal type. I mean, look at her. She literally has a Stantler and an Ursaluna on her design. She walks around with a Munchlax all the time.
I want nothing to do with both of you.
And she's in service to Weirdeer. So the Obsidian Fieldlands feels like a pretty good spot for a normal type gym leader to go. So I think we'll put her on Ramanas Island. I would have put her right at Heights Camp, but I think an island is actually a good kind of tough place to reach for a 4th gym to go. Ideally, you've like just gained access to a water ride Pokemon and now you can reach that part of the game. As for her team, we have to keep Munchlax as a baby Pokemon. Maybe holding in a Violite because this thing kind of sucks.
Look at him. Unassuming little rat eyes.
But then we'll give her the 2 ride Pokemon that we mentioned earlier, that being Weirdeer and Ursaluna. I mean, come on, both of them are literally on her design. They're Hisuian forms. If you really wanted to give her a 4th Pokemon, we could throw Bibarel in there, but you know it'd have to be Bidoof. I mean, this is Legends Arceus, come on.
You don't deserve him.
As for a rematch team, I don't care if it conflicts with the lore or whatever. We're going to evolve her Munchlax into a Snorlax. Keep the Weirdeer and the Ursaluna, of course. If you want to include Bibarel in there, sure, why not? We'll throw Lopunny in there. I mean, who knows? We could still be waiting on that Legends DLC for Arceus too, and they might bring Megas back. And for her 6th member, I think I'm going to have to give her one of the speediest Pokemon of all time. They don't get enough love, and yes, I'm talking about Purugly. And yeah, we didn't pick a Rezu for a gym leader in this video, so she could have had Purugly because of the whole Mars connection, but we're gonna give her to May instead. For our 5th gym leader of this video, I went with Sabai. Now, there's not really any type overlap amongst her Pokemon, so picking one type was kind of hard. She does give off the whole added Sinnoh evolution thing with the Rhyperior and the Magmortar and the Electivire. Could have just stuck with that theming and added like Dusknoir and Mamoswine and I don't know, Tangrowth. But instead, we're gonna give her ride Pokemon too and just stick with Braviary. I found it pretty hard to choose between Psychic and Flying, so I actually looked at which gyms throughout Pokemon there have been more of. There have been 4 Psychic-type gyms and only 3 Flying-type gyms as of Gen 9, so let's make her the 4th Flying-type gym leader. I think Cheryl would have approved, right? I think for a 5th gym, we can give her a Staraptor, maybe a Honchkrow for that new Gen 4 evolution, a Mantine, mostly just because I think it's cool, and of course Braviary. Flying Pokemon like high-up places, so we'll put her right outside of Snow Point Temple, kind of like the original Snow Point City gym, maybe. It's perfect for her to just fly off with all her flying types, right? I feel like it makes more sense than Psychic. For her rematch team, we'll keep Staraptor, Honchkrow, Braviary, and Mantine. But let's give her a Crobat and then a Togekiss. Togekiss is kind of interesting because you could say there's a loose connection between Togekiss and Chansey, you know, both being like from an egg and everything like that. I mean, I guess all Pokemon are from eggs, but that's besides the point. Cheryl, her descendant in Eterna Forest, uses a Chansey. So I think that's kind of cool. The Togekiss gives off the eggy vibes too. Now for my next pick, how could I not pick at least one ancestor of an actual gym leader? Leon is a warden and clearly is powerful enough to be a gym leader. Some might say he's a little young to be a gym leader, but I mean, if Poppy and Paldea could be in the Elite Four, then I think Leon being a gym leader is totally fine. His descendant Clay uses ground types in the Unova League, but I think I'm actually going to give Leon the rock type. Hisui just has more notable rock types than ground types, and I mean, it's Leon. We had to give him Cleavor, right? I know, his in-game battle team has 2 ground types and a steel type on it, but I just think rock suits him better. As for his team, I feel like the 6th gym, we can give him a Golem, maybe a Bastiodon, and then rounding out his team would be 2 Hisuian forms, that being Avalugg and his ace, Cleavor. For a rematch, I like adding Probopass and Onix, and my reason for this would be maybe Leon is instrumental in forming future gym leader groups. For Probopass, he inspired Roxanne, the rock-type gym leader from Hoenn, and then of course with his Onix, he eventually inspired Brock, the rock-type gym leader from Kanto. You know, come to think of it, let's switch out Bastiodon for Rampardos for that same reason. He won't inspire Byron, but he'll inspire Rourke, even though I guess Byron's his dad. I mean, you'd think dad would inspire the son, but then why isn't Rourke a steel-type gym leader in some other region? Or I don't know. As far as the location of the gym, we already took up the Grandtree Arena earlier in the video, so I think we're gonna have to move Leon to somewhere in the Coronet Highlands. I feel like the Bolderoll Ravine could be good for an area. You could put the gym right on top of one of the mountains. The views are amazing. There are a ton of rock types over there. I thought about putting them near like Ouroboros Tunnel, because of course that eventually becomes like Oreburgh City, which of course is the rock type gym in Sinnoh, but I didn't want to be too literal with it, and I didn't want to put too many gyms in the Obsidian Fieldlands. We gotta spread the love, you know? And so we've picked a few wardens for this video already, but why stop now? Blaine made the fire type iconic for being the 7th gym in Kanto. Why can't we say that precedent was set in Hisui first? Palina seems like the perfect fit. Palina. Her whole thing is Arcanine, and her story arc happens next to the volcano. Palina's another character, though, that the ancestry isn't really that clear. So us choosing the fire type is really just based off the noble Pokemon and her location, not much else. So we'll put her gym right there in the arena where you eventually fight the frenzied Arcanine. As for her team, we are on the 7th gym, so I've got to make these at least a little stronger now. Let's start with some Pokemon that you find on Firepit Island, that being maybe a Magmortar and Ninetales. But then let's get a little creative. I think it'd be fun to give her an Infernape. While gym leaders don't often have starters, I think being the 7th gym and such a prominent character in the story is worthy of having one of the Sinnoh starters. Maybe not the Hisui starters yet, but we'll get there. And yes, I know we already gave Infernape to Zissou. This is Sinnoh we're talking about. There's not a lot of options here. For a 4th member, let's give her a Flareon for now. I know it's a little weak, but having 5 Pokemon is a little bit heavy for a 7th gym leader anyways. But of course, for that 5th Pokemon, we're going to give her Hisuian Arcanine. It'd have to know Raging Fury, and this being her ace only makes sense because, of course, it's her noble Pokemon. She basically raised the thing, right? For her rematch team, we could say all we have to do is add Hisuian Typhlosion, which would be sick, honestly. Represents Hisui well, but I'm gonna go one step further. I know, I already made the joke with Zissou about Flint using a Pokemon on his team that doesn't match the type that he's thematically representing. Dang it, I'm gonna do it again. Buck has the connection to Stark Mountain or whatever. We're gonna connect Flint loosely to Palina, because why not? We're gonna give the fire type specialist in Hisui a Steelix, because you know what? The fire type specialist in Sinnoh uses a Steelix. I just want to give Flint the benefit of the doubt, man. I'm just gonna say it. The Steelix is inspired by something. It's not just random. Flint's Steelix holds more lore than you could ever imagine. Okay, let's get back on track. For our 8th and final gym, I just wanted to point out that one of my favorite parts of Sword and Shield, actually, was the split gym leaders per version. And while, okay, to be fair, we don't need a second version of the game just to split the gym leaders, I like the thought of changing the gym leader in Hisui based on which clan you aligned yourself with, just like they changed the legendary Pokemon that you encounter. And speaking of the Diamond and Pearl clans, let's make the leaders of those groups the gym leaders for the 8th gym. I would say the gym leader should be the one that you end up not partnering with in the main story, and we'll have their types reflect the type of their legendary that they hold in high regard. Since they're both dragon types, we'll use their primary types instead. Funny enough, they both use evolutions in their in-game battles. I'm not sure if they ever explained why, but it's not like we're gonna make an evolution gym. I mean, that could be cool. Maybe one region one day will have just all like themed gyms, not necessarily representing types, but maybe representing some different groups or categories for Pokemon. But we'll start with Irida. I read Florida. Irida. Because we do have access to a water type evolution, we'll give her a Vaporeon on her team. Then we'll give her a Floatzel, you know, Crasher Wake, Hisui, Sinnoh vibes, I don't know. Empoleon could be a staple on her team. I like Octillery just because he's cool. And to round it out, we'll give her a Gyarados in hopes that, you know, they bring back Mega Evolution for these gyms somehow. I don't know. On Adaman's side of things, I think it'd be cool to actually give him an Empoleon too, so that there's some continuity between the gyms. Unfortunately, they didn't give us a Steel type evolution, so kind of screwed there. We'll give him a Bronzong, even though I hate Bronzong with a burning passion because I can't stop finding shinies of this one specific Pokemon. Magnezone and Scizor feel like good options too. And to round out his team, we'll give him a Hisui and Goodra. Feels like the perfect Steel type to represent Hisui. As for their rematch teams, I know it's a little unorthodox, but like, I'm just gonna give them the legendary. I'll assume it's the one that you didn't catch or whatever, even though, okay, you get both in Hisui, I know that. It's time for this video to end. Hopefully you all enjoyed my picks for some sort of first ever Hisui gym challenge. I did write an Elite Four and a champion, but I thought it'd be a little bit too much for this video. If you want to see that, let me know down in the comments, or maybe I'll make it anyways if this video gets enough views or something. Anyhow, stay hard, happy hunting, and Bronzor, we'll see you in the next one.
It's the little nickel. Little nickel. Little nickel wants you to subscribe. Little nickel, where you go? Little nickel just started a Discord. You should join. The link is in the description. Look at this photograph. Let me take my nickel back.